And now let's talk about food security. Now the government has introduced Nigeria's Guaranteed Minimum Price Aggregation Programme. It's an agricultural market stabilization initiative launched in July this year, backed by 550 billion naira federal allocation to the Bank of Agriculture, and the scheme protects 2 million smallholder farmers from exploitative pricing and post-harvest losses. But before now, of course, we've had a lot of programs, which is why a lot of Nigerians will be, oh, is this yet another program? Let's look at some of those things. We have the Presidential Initiative on Food Security, expanding staple crop production and irrigation. Don't forget there was the emergency rule against food insecurity in Nigeria under President Bola Tinubu. We also have the subsidized seeds and fertilizers for smallholder farmers. And then we have, that's supposed to run from 2022 to 2027, the long-term agricultural transformation strategy. That's also still on. The special agro-industrial processing zones, we heard a lot about this, was it last week? It's supposed to boost agro-processing and reduce post-harvest losses. National Agricultural Development Fund, that's supposed to finance agriculture and agribusiness. We also have the Wheat Development Program, which is supposed to reduce wheat imports dependence. There's the Green Imperative Program, accelerating farm mechanization. There's the school feeding program, which is supposed to, I think this is the most popular of it, supporting nutrition while creating market for local farmers. So these are programs before now, and now we have this 550 billion naira federal allocation to the Bank of Agriculture that's supposed to touch the life of, or the businesses at least, of smallholder farmers, about 2 million of them. So let's find out, perhaps we can get a bit of update on some of these former programs, and then what to expect from this Guaranteed Minimum Price program of the federal government. We have the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Agriculture joining us from our Abuja studio, Mr. Ayo Shotunri. Mr. Shotunri, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Well, good morning to you. Many thanks for inviting me over.
Good to have you. So how would you react to Nigerians saying this is perhaps one program too many?
The first thing you need to think of is, why should a country like Nigeria have food insecurity? The president of Nigeria, who feels the pulse of the farmers, in 2025 realized that Nigerians are now complaining that the food prices are actually depressed, meaning prices at farm gates are not favorable to the farmers. If you recall, in 2024, food inflation was 40%. 40%. In 2025, the president, with different initiatives, when he declared food emergency and all that, was able to bring it down to 10.84%. And you can fact check me, I'm not giving you stories. A lot of Nigerians, know this, and the ones that don't know this, they can check. This is stats by, Central Bank of Nigeria. Now that food has come down to, depressed prices, prices of maize is too cheap according to the farmers. Prices of, cassava is even too cheap according to the farmers. And the president stepped in to say, why don't Bank of Agriculture, which has been, turned around, we call it Bank of Agriculture 2.0, come in with a fund to now guarantee offtake of food from farm gates for the farmers in Nigeria. Because if you think about it, you have the demand side, which are, the millers, the FMCG companies who produce, different things from the staple crops. You also have the supply side, which is our farmers, and the number over 70 million farmers in Nigeria, according to stats. And you're thinking, okay, how do we balance it? When the food prices were super high, all households complained in Nigeria. Now that it's too cheap, the farmers are complaining. So can we have a missing middle, which is a guaranteed minimum price, being done in other countries? This is not the first time it's been done, but this is the first time in the history of Nigeria that an administration would actually think of doing it. And let me correct you, it's not 550 billion, it's actually 200 billion. And what we plan to do
200 billion, sorry. Samuel, you said it's how much?
Yes. 200 billion.
200 billion, okay.
Which is the guarantee minimum price mechanism. Not necessarily a program, because a program means you do it for a while and it fizzles off. This one is here to stay. It is part of what the Bank of Agriculture will be doing day in, day out, because if you think about regular operations, we give microcredits to millions of farmers through farm aggregation companies. Now, the way we get paid back is we get them to aggregate this food stuff. And when the food stuff is sold, or the commodities, that's when we get paid back. So we've been doing it anyway. We've been doing it for 55 years. Now we're now saying, aside just aggregating food, why don't we try as much as possible to ensure that, we complete the cycle, the entire value chain of funding primary production, of aggregating food after harvest, and also giving guaranteed minimum price, which is a floor price to farmers. That means that, we solve the problems of, smallholder farmers producing and food insecurity in Nigeria, we become food secure. When we finish that, we can now start to look at high value commodities. How do we support, ginger revitalization in Nigeria for export, because last year we exported zero quantity and Nigeria used to be the largest exporter in the world. How do we support sesame export? How do we support cocoa export? So those are the things that, this administration is actually bringing to bear. And Bank of Agriculture, being a limited by liability company under CAMA, we are literally private sector driven in our nature. The only difference is we're owned by government. So we do things for profit, but we prioritize impact before profit. So these are the things that, we're trying to do. I'm happy to talk you through the guaranteed minimum price program if you want Nigerians to understand it better.
Yeah, we'd certainly like to know how exactly it's going to work, because, and I know this is not new to you, where you hear that even though there are applaudable government programs, it seems it doesn't get to the people who really need it, or the political sentiment of the government in power blocks some people from being beneficiaries. So we'd like to know how this is going to cascade to the people who really need it, barring their political, like even the video we see there, it seems to be all about the politics.
So we don't do politics, unfortunately. Like I said, we are a private sector, we're state-owned enterprise. It's like CECC in China or CGC. We're not going to engage in politics. What you see there, it's a flag off of, the wet season, where we give loans. We don't share fertilizer, we give loans to farmer aggregation companies based on the fact they have done economics of production to say they want to finance each farmer with ₦1 million, 6 bags of urea fertilizer, 4 bags of NPK fertilizer, 5 bags of, hybrid seeds and, crop protection. So all that is aggregated into a loan package. Then we now give a loan to the farm aggregation company. The only difference is he doesn't get cash from us. You tell us who you want us to pay in terms of the original equipment manufacturer or, whatever producer of fertilizer, we pay them on your behalf, which is a loan book to your name. And we have a single obligatory limit of about 10 billion. Now, these guys who are farm aggregation companies, they do it anyway. Without us, they've been doing it. Bank of Agriculture before this administration was doing nothing. As I believe, they probably did a bit of Uncle Bora's program and that was about it. So now that we've stepped in, with the federal might to see how we can finance, the sector, we are looking at how we ensure we are not doing procurement, which will be riddled with, this is my brother, political farmers, and we're not doing that. We are very sincere about, how we discharge our operations within the bank. We give a loan to you that is guaranteed by an instrument, either a legal mortgage or bank guarantee or, some sort of a liquid instrument. Once you do that, or NISO, which is our partner that we work with.
What's the requirement? Who qualifies? How do you get that requirement?
Thank you. So we put out a call for application. We got about 1,220 proposals, and we're able to select the 24 of the best that we know we can accommodate. Now the requirements for these farm aggregation companies You need to have been doing it before, so you need to have track record. You need to have a minimum threshold of revenues that you've been generating from this. But most importantly, you need to be able to prove and show you have genuine farmers that you've been supporting over a period of time. So some of them have 50,000 farmers that you've been supporting. Some of them have 100,000 farmers. Some of them have even 1 million farmers. But what we do is we use technology across the entire process, where you send us a list of your farmers, we put it in our system. If we see Ayuba, Aliu, Dantata, if we see Dantata, Ayuba, if we see Aliu, Ayuba, it might be the same person, but the system is so intuitive enough to check through the national aggregation number and filter through the fake farmers and original farmers. And don't forget, the farmers also have coordinates of their farm that have been captured by these farm aggregation companies. So by the time you put it there, you can link a farmer not necessarily only to his NIN, but to the coordinates of his farm. Once you're able to do that, our system accepts it. So out of the 1 million farmers some of them bring, we're only able to choose 120,000 farmers. Some of them bring 50,000 farmers, we're only able to choose maybe 7,000 farmers. So by the time we do this with all the people that we've sort of, chosen amongst them, we will now look for how to support them with more, flexible terms to grow the tier 4 aggregation company into tier 3, the tier 3 to tier 2, and the tier 2 to tier 1. What it means is, if you're doing 50,000 farmers, we want to support you and hold you, and we're at the process of you start to do 100,000 farmers, so that we can have enough of these farm aggregation companies become the obligor for us, rather than Bank of Agriculture record, massive non-performing loans through individual microcredits to 3 million, farmers.
All of this
companies to do.
Let me just try to understand, and it's really impressive when you talk about the use of technology, and they have to be registered. I mean, we're looking for how to make Nigerian economy more formal and inclusive. So we do need data and all of that. But I'm just thinking of when you look at a bulk of farmers who perhaps a lot of them do not, because I remember a former minister of agriculture had tried to use fertilizer, USSD phones and all of that, and it seemed a lot of people were cut off from that. So while we appreciate the use of technology and data and getting them registered, I wonder if you're also doing something about helping them to even get registered, to even have their data. Some parts of Nigeria, I don't think you can use GPS, especially when you go to the north and you want to use a GPS and all that. So how do you handle such situations, people in those areas?
You see, I'll be very candid. Technology has moved from 2011 when the former president of the FDB was the Minister of Agriculture. Technology has moved to the point where I can use satellite data to actually know where you are, what you're doing on a particular plot of land. When we go to, the farmers to sort of capture data in very remote areas, we have a device where, we can take coordinates of the farm based on GPS and GPRS. We can take the details of the farmer. And we've done what is quite interesting. When I got appointed by the president, the first thing I said on air, the very first time, was to digitize the entire operations of the bank, which we've done now. Meaning we have a core banking application, we have a farmer data registry that we're building out on and all that. And to be able to get the information of these farmers, when we go to the field with this tablet, we can actually open not only NIN for them, but they can also actually get BVNs. So when we're boarding the farmer and getting his details, we're automatically also at the same time solving problems of financial exclusion by opening the bank account for the farmer. And don't forget, the founding fathers knew what they were doing with the Bank of Agriculture by setting it up in 110 locations across the entire country, giving us a closer proximity to the farmers. So we have agents, colleagues, staff all across the country. Plus, these farm aggregation companies that we work with who have, warehouses and offices in the remotest parts of Nigeria. So we have at minimum one office per senatorial district across the entire country. So we are, the Bank of Agriculture, meaning we are the Bank of Farmers. So we go there to actually get these farmers in. Now, what's going to be interesting that you will see in coming months is a mobile bank in a bus. We're going to have Bank of Agriculture buses going to the remotest part of Nigeria to provide financial services, agronomy services to the farmers, plus the one-stop shop, the agri-hubs that we're building across the entire country. This is not a model that we invented. We're not trying to reinvent anything. We just want to copy models, apply it to Nigeria, and do it very well. This is a model we've copied from, Bank of Agriculture Vietnam, where they have 2,400 outlets, and they are going to the farmers to actually give, financial services to the farmers. So with all this things that Administration is trying to do, this is to ensure there's no farmer that is disenfranchised. We have, many schemes that we're trying to do, irrigation for all, where we're going to be providing solar irrigation kits to the farmers to eliminate dry season and wet season farming, to ensure that with solar power, the farmers are not, they're not waiting on diesel or petrol to farm. And this is a mobile system. So the few things, but I would like to go back to the guaranteed minimum price, which you asked me, because it's the best tool that this administration has actually put into the agriculture sector, and this will revolutionize agriculture. So I'm happy to talk to you about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, and of course that's our major conversation this morning. And I'm also interested in how this program is supposed to help deal with post-harvest losses. We know that from records, the country loses about 50% of food production to post-harvest losses. And you did say that this is part of what it's supposed to be dealing with. So how do you connect that?
So there are a few things in resolving post-harvest losses, and we call ourselves within the Bank of Agriculture a think tank, not a think tank. We are very, very intelligent, smart people who sit down and just, create programs and projects every day to solve the problems within the sector. But we call ourselves a think tank because we also do stuff. So now to solve this problem, the smart thing to do is look at why we have post-harvest losses. First of all, the farmer farms, and at a particular time, that 1 hectare is giving in 3 tons. 3 tons is 3,000 kg. A farmer that has an Okada or a motorcycle can only move 50 kg at one time, right? We are creating a scheme where we're doing e-mobility, cargo tricycles that are battery powered or electricity powered, that can go out there. They've got a big back that can move 2 to 3,000 kg at once. So number one, you solve that problem of, things are getting rotten in the field. Number two, at the farm gate, you're moving things from the farm to the farm gate now. At the farm gate, with this guaranteed minimum price, we become buyers of last resort. We are there, we are aggregators who are saying, we want to buy all of your stuff, BOS giving you, a floor price, meaning they can't cheat you anymore. We create a system where we reduce all the middlemen trying to play, arbitrage, where they buy things from the farmers because the farmers know these things are going to spoil anyway if they don't sell it, and trying to play on the vulnerability of the farmer. So we eliminate that completely. Once we're able to do that, they move things to storage. Whether you like it or not, if you look at both private storage and government silos, we have over 9 million tons of storage in country. Even with the mom and pop shop that is converted to a warehouse to the big ones. So we can actually store stuff. Now, the point is that farmer aggregation companies know they do it for business. Like I said, they do it without us anyway. They go to the commercial banks, get money at 35% to actually give the farmers input through an input financing scheme, aggregate from the farmers, and they take it to the warehouse. But sometimes they price the farmers too low. So this guaranteed minimum price means that they have to give the farmers the price that we set, that the government has given to the farmer, which solves the problem of the supply side. Now, the problem of the demand side means if prices are creeping up too high, the millers and the FMCG companies will start to complain. And when they complain about prices being too high, they can lobby. They will lobby for government to start, bringing in cheaper, grains from abroad, which we completely would, frown to. So on the demand side, when prices are creeping up too high, I think for maize, for case in point, we're giving them $340,000, $350,000 per metric ton. which is, a far cry from the prices that went up to, I think they went as low as 160,000 naira. Now it's crept up since we started it to maybe about 310,000 naira. Because we're also doing sensitization on over 40 digital channels, radio, TV, and print media. Once we're able to give these farmers a guaranteed minimum price, we're storing value. We're not wasting money. We're not giving them a subsidy. This gets stored in, warehouses. When on the demand side, these millers are complaining, and the prices are creeping up to 450,000, 500,000. I think at a particular point in 2023, maize prices was about 600,000 per ton. We can now release these grains to the market and release it to the market at maybe 400,000. So that's what we call a market stabilization mechanism that this administration is trying to, implement for the agriculture sector in Nigeria. Meaning, there's no one who complains about food prices are too high or food prices are too low.
Yeah, and I guess with a plan like this, Nigeria should be able to overcome, the off-season hike in the price of some food crops and all of that. But I mean, even from the explanation you have given, it sounds like it needs a lot of coordination. I wonder how you have the value chain around that. What plans you have there?
Okay, I'll continue to go back to the point that I made earlier, that these farm aggregation companies, they do it without us. Likes of Azikinoma, Afex, Thriver Greek, they support 500,000 farmers each. They know how to, aggregate from the farmers, and they have contracts with, flour mills of Nigeria, Wakot, TGI, Olams of this world. We are now trying to say, if we step in, we're stepping in not only to support you, to grow you from 500,000 farmers to 1 million farmers, because we are trying to finance 70 million farmers in Nigeria if, we continue to raise enough capital for that. We are trying to say, within the ecosystem, we are bringing, our own expertise, but the most important thing is working with everybody, and bringing together the power of the collective, where we all have different roles to play. Farm aggregation company has a role to play. The exchanges have a role to play. By the time you take these commodities to the warehouse, the NCX, Nigeria Commodity Exchange, or AFEX, goes to the warehouse to issue electronic warehouse receipts that is tradable on the exchange. So it means that the farmers of Nigeria who want to buy, they stop disturbing themselves looking for grains. They can actually book on this exchange platform to say they want 40,000 tons of grains for October. And because there's electronic warehouse receipts that talks about that, and collateral managers who could actually, attest to the fact these things do exist in those warehouses. They pay through the exchange. Exchange takes their fees. They pay the aggregator. The aggregator pays us back the loan that we give to the aggregator. So it's all an ecosystem. And don't forget, we have a prime ministry that gives us direction, that sets the policy, which is the Ministry of Agriculture, manned by the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari. So it's all working together as a collective. Now we're going to be working, in partnership with other agencies to actually, support, what we do. Aside the NCX, we have NADF who try and, co-opt into the program to also bring financing for us to be able to do this at scale. Because no matter the balance sheet that we have, it's never going to be enough. And I'll give you an example. Nigeria produces 11 million tons of grains, right? Government cannot fund 11 million tons of grains if you produce a ton of grain for maybe even 200,000 naira, right? You're talking about over 22 trillion. I mean, that's half of our budget. So it's always a concerted effort. We are constantly out there in roadshows trying to raise development capital from MDBs, MFIs, DFIs, even locally as well. We're constantly knocking on Mr. President's door to say, through the Ministry of Finance and CBN, we need more financing for the sector. The stats that says Nigerian agriculture sector requires over $10 billion worth of investment every year for the next 15 years. So where are we going to get that? $10 billion is, 15 trillion. We don't have that in the country. So it's our job to be on our toes every single day, working 18 hour days to ensure that we're crowding money into the sector. And we're doing it, in a very transparent, traceable manner. All these commodities that are going to be aggregated is on the technology rail. From the time of aggregation, the farmers are not paid by the aggregators. They are paid into their bank account by the Bank of Agriculture. So it's a digital payment. And the way it works is an aggregator now becomes even a BOA, account agent, where you immediately open a bank account for the farmer. And by the time, you punch in the technology platform we provided, that this person has supplied you, 4 tons of grains or 20 bags of maize, for example, we verify through the collateral managers and monies get credited from the computer into the bank account of the farmer. So he's forced to use his card. And that card, is something that we were able to do within the 12-month period where we digitize all our processes and we issue bank cards that is connected to all the banks in Nigeria and for even international transactions to every farmer, meaning the first time in Nigeria that a farmer actually would have a bank card, which is not, a GT bank card or Zenith bank card, but what works like a GT bank card or Zenith bank card. And the last thing is his NIN number is imprinted on that card. So it means if there are interventions, maybe fertilizer for free from Ministry of Agriculture, he can actually use his card to go and claim the fertilizer because you put it into a Bank of Agriculture POS system and you punch it on the box, you can deduct the fertilizer and you get issued your fertilizer.
Well, sounds really interesting, I must say, and we're expectant and we expect that to work. And of course, it's something that the farmers would really appreciate because we do know that guarantee is also security for them to go back to farm the next season. But thank you so much, and we certainly wish you the very best in this program. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Agriculture, Mr. Ayotunri, thank you for your time.
Before we go, can I say one more thing?
Please go ahead.
We're not in the business of playing politics, right? Farmers might think, oh, you're giving it to X amount of farmers, you're not giving it to us. Let's be honest with ourselves. Give the bank a break and give us just sort of an elastic, ruler where watch us over a period of time. We want to be in operation properly for a year. You can't expect us to fix the problem of the entire agriculture sector. And like I said, we have 70 million farmers. There's no way the bank will finance 70 million farmers in a day. We financed 500,000 farmers so far. Our next, ambitious plan is to move to 2 million farmers. And after we move to 2 million farmers, we'll see, how we can cascade that to 5 million, 10 million farmers. But we're also limited with funding. We don't have all the monies in the world. I've just done the mathematics for you of sector 22 trillion. So it's very difficult. So I say that to just sort of say the farmers should please just give us, some sort of rope to actually continue to do our work. As I'm speaking to you, I'm not feeling very well because your body shuts down working 18-hour days. But I needed to come here to actually speak to Nigerian farmers, to appeal to them, to just give the administration, some sort of time to start to fix these problems. Food inflation was 40%. In a year, Nigeria government has brought it down to 10%, 10.84%. So let's see how we can bring it down to 5% and, maybe 1% in coming years. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And I'm sure the farmers hear you. And thank you so much for your time and sharing all of that. We're expectant, as I said earlier, and we'll be following the progress of this program.
Thank you.